Guys, this weekend we got a barn burner at 55. I'm talking about Islam Makhachev against RDA. We're breaking that fight down and giving you guys a prediction right now. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, we got a good one at 55
That's
coming
right.
up this weekend.
Absolutely. And it's not really a number one contenders fight or anything like that, but it might be for one of the toughest fighters in the entire 155 division.
Yeah, I mean, so we're talking about RDA,
Yeah.
the former champion, the legend, against the young Russian stud,
Yeah.
Islam Makhachev, the Khabib Nurmagomedov protege.
Right.
So this is a very interesting matchup. This is a very tough matchup for Makhachev, I believe. And so we were actually asked by a couple of fans, and thank you guys for your comments and asking us to break this fight down and give predictions. And by the way, guys, just one quick thing. We noticed that 90% of you guys that watch the video aren't subscribed to us. So if you enjoy this content, make sure you hit that subscribe and that bell notification button. We appreciate it. But so Islam Makhachev versus RDA is extremely interesting for a lot of reasons because there's a lot of moving parts at 155 right now. You have the retirement of Khabib. You've got Conor and Dustin happening. We don't know if that's going to be for the belt. And there's a lot of jockeying for position. Obviously, if you're a young stud like Makhachev and you're on your way up, cementing a win over a legend, future Hall of Famer like RDA is just a great feather in your cap. If you're RDA, you're looking at 36 years old to maybe climb that mountain one more time. So this is kind of a crossroads fight for him. The thing that's interesting to me is that RDA is a major, major underdog in this fight.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I've seen it as high as plus 450 to for RDA to minus 660 for Islam Makhachev. And I just can't help but think that the odds makers may have gotten a bit carried away on this one.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of them may be mistaking Islam Makhachev for Khabib Nurmagomedov. They look kind of alike.
Yeah.
They're like not just teammates. They're almost like brothers. Like apparently the Nurmagomedov family has really done a lot for Islam's career, and they're helping groom him and helping him bringing him up. Essentially, they want him to take the belt that Khabib just left behind. I'm not 100% sure if Khabib is completely retired. I kind of want to just take him at his word at it, but I think there's a couple of big things that could potentially happen, and we might wind up seeing Khabib at least one more time. I would love to see it, but if it doesn't happen, I do feel like Islam Makhachev is somebody who we could see in a number one contenders fight or a title fight in the very near future. Both of these fighters, RDA and Islam Makhachev, are kind of in a good position in that they have the ability to get on a fast track towards the top 5, top 3, to be in there for two separate reasons. RDA, because he's been there before, tough as nails, only fights top opponents, only fights in main events and co-main events and on pay-per-view cards and stuff like that. Stud athlete, he's already been to the top, so to get there again, he only needs to win against Islam Makhachev, another couple wins, and then we could very well see RDA in there with one of the top contenders. Islam Makhachev gets the rub from the champ, and people know him from Khabib, know him from the camp. They understand. And also there's this thing about the beard without the mustache and the hair. The Dagestani fighters like that, they're scary, and they for some reason they're really clicking with the world right now. Not just UFC, but sports in general are getting behind these guys. They're very religious. They're very family oriented. They really care about what they do. Dedicated, disciplined. People really appreciate that, and it sends this sort of fear through the division. So I think both of these guys are 2 or 3 fight win streaks away from being top contenders.
No doubt. And there's no doubt also that Islam is getting a bit of that Khabib bump as far as the odds making goes.
Yeah.
And I understand RDA is 1-4 in his last 5. Those all happened at 170. And I'd like to just quickly run through who those people were.
Right.
Colby Covington.
Shit.
Kamaru Usman.
Oof.
Who else? So Leon Edwards.
Michael Chiesa.
Wow. And Kevin Lee was the other one.
What you're saying is he hasn't had an easy night at the office in quite some time.
No, not at all. And I'm not suggesting that Islam Makhachev couldn't have beaten some of those people. Maybe he could, maybe he couldn't have. But I think it's safe to say if that lineup of the last 5 was Islam's last 5, he wouldn't be 5-0. I don't know what he would be, but it wouldn't be 5-0.
Right, and RDA, if he would have fought Islam's last 5 opponents, his record might probably look like Islam Makhachev's last 6 or 5 opponents.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say. Strength of schedule definitely matters in this situation, and you can't just go, well, Islam's won his last 5 fights and RDA's only won 1 of his last 5 fights, when the schedule has been completely different. He's RDA's only fighting world champs and #1 contenders in a weight class above where he actually was the champ and fits in naturally. And Islam Makhachev is fighting guys that are very tough, but they aren't near the caliber of the top of the heap at 170.
No, not at all. I mean, and this is like, and RDA, by the way, didn't get finished. I was actually at the Leon Edwards fight, and he was hanging in there. He did a great job. I mean, Leon Edwards was just a better man on that night. Colby Covington, same thing. Kamaru Usman, same thing. I would like to go to the one of those 4, one of those last 5 in which he won, which was the Kevin Lee fight.
Yes.
He submitted Kevin Lee. And I think that's worth noting because Kevin Lee is known as a very strong, very pressure-forward grappler, and Islam is similar in style, although the Dagestani style of wrestling is different than the American style. They rely, on the cage, and they do some things differently with the leg trips, and it's different, but it's similar enough to compare.
Right.
So I do think that RDA is, one, he's got the more experience in 5-round fights.
For sure.
2, he's fought much tougher opponents, and he's been in there. He knows how to win rounds in fights that you need to pile up rounds, because I do think this fight is going to go to decision. I mean, when you look at Islam Makhachev, I think he's 19-1 with 7 or 8 submissions. I can't. It was one of those 7 or 8 submissions and only 3 knockouts.
Okay.
RDA's never been submitted, so I don't think that Islam. That's if he either takes you to decision, or he submits you.
Right.
I don't think he submits RDA. So we're looking at a decision here, and I'm just thinking to myself, can RDA win 3 of the 5 rounds? I think the answer is yes. I'm leaning towards Makhachev. I think that he's getting better by the day. He's at AKA with Javier Mendez.
He's around all the right people.
He's training with, he's got Luke Rockhold around him, Daniel Cormier, Khabib. Obviously, AKA is one of the best gyms in the country. So,
and they have a lot of belief and trust in him. They definitely see him as being one of AKA's future champions.
Yeah, no question. But I look to RDA, though, to come in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, because I think that if I was him, certainly I would feel a bit disrespected by the odds makers. Like, any casual fan out there, name me 3 people that Islam Makhachev has fought. And they can't do it.
Exactly.
Name me, how about people that RDA's beaten? Showtime Pettis, Cowboy Cerrone.
Or name me some of the fighters that he's fought in the most recent history that don't have belts or used to have belts.
Yeah, and at a weight class higher than what he fought at for most of his career.
Right. And RDA has, even though he's 1-4 in his last 5 fights, they're all against super tough opponents. But he's one of those guys that, even though he's in a difficult position negotiation-wise to say, oh, I'm not going to take this fight or that fight. He is more than happy to take these fights, climb up, do it exactly how he wants to. And it just shows the character of RDA. It shows the competitive edge that he has. He's willing to get in the back of the line and crawl his way back up to the top after already being the champion before. That says a lot to me. And sometimes I think RDA should give himself a little more credit and maybe be a little bit more of a difficult person to deal with.
Tough negotiator.
Anybody that's had the gold strap around their waist in the UFC tends to be difficult for the UFC to wrangle in and get deals with. RDA is the opposite. Yeah. He goes, you guys give me who you want. Obviously, I haven't performed the way I would like to in the last few fights, so I have some catching up, some making up to do. And why don't you just deal me from the bottom of the deck? And that's exactly what the UFC did. They said, all right, here's Islam Makhachev. No offense to you, RDA, but we're going to try to build somebody off of your name and your legacy. And Islam is somebody they see being potentially a champion, definitely somebody that they can grow off of. So I'm very excited to see this fight. Yeah. I think you're right with the decision thing. I do see this probably going to a decision. I haven't quite decided yet. Maybe by the end of this video, I'll have my prediction.
Yeah, and when you say deal from the bottom of the deck, my goodness, it's like the UFC has not made it easy for RDA. He's like, hey guys, I'm the one that took the title off the Wheaties box guy.
Right.
I beat Showtime Pettis in glorious fashion and won the title, and now you guys are just throwing me the who's who at 170. But I get it. He was trying to chase a belt in 2 divisions.
Right.
I think RDA was never really fit for 170. He's a little short for that, and I just didn't think that. I knew he could get to the top 5 at 170. I didn't think that he would ever win the 170.
The size
strap.
would start to play a role a little bit.
Right.
Skill level starts to even out, and then size starts to play a role. It's natural.
Yeah, but I think if we're going to make predictions in this, I hate to pick against RDA, but I think I'm going to pick Makhachev to win. I think he wins 4 rounds to 1 in a close fight that goes all the way to decision.
Nice. That's a great prediction. I think it's a smart prediction. And
that said, though, just quickly, if you're a betting guy and you like to roll the dice, there's never been a former champion where you can get this good of odds.
Right.
When he's fighting the who's who list.
Yeah.
And you got a plus 450 on a former champion and RDA, a former world beater. It's hard to not want to just throw a couple bucks on him just to roll the dice and ride with him.
Yeah, I might just do that. If there's plus 660, plus 650 plus type of numbers, and I'm going to get some money, a good return, I might just throw a few bucks at RDA. I do think that there's something to be said for Islam, and he works with Khabib, and there's just this
Russian takeover that's happening.
You can feel it in the air.
Yeah.
I personally think that I've been watching a little bit of stuff on like Zabit, obviously Khamzat Chimaev, Islam Makhachev, Ankalov, the one that just beat Ion Cutelaba.
Yeah.
There's something happening in the air with the Russians, and I think there's something to be said for it. Islam Makhachev does have a lot of weight on his shoulder because it's a blessing and a curse when Khabib, Daniel Cormier, Javier Mendez, everybody at AKA goes, this guy's going to be our next champion out of AKA. There's a little bit of pressure that comes with that. And then you got to get in the ring or the octagon with RDA, and then from there it only gets tougher and tougher and tougher. We're going to see him in there potentially with the Tony Fergusons, the Michael Chandlers, the Conor McGregors, those types of names in there. And if that's the path that he has to take to become the champion and take Khabib's old belt, then it's going to be a difficult road. I think that he's probably up for the challenge, but the pressure is most definitely on. I think there's a lot less pressure on RDA right now because he's taken that step back, sort of like Robert Whittaker. He's not the champion anymore, and nothing against Robert Whittaker. I do think he was a great champion. Nothing against RDA. I think he's a great champion. They don't feel like in my opinion, they don't seem like the type of guys that care as much about being the champion as some of the, Israel Adesanya's, Max Holloway's, Conor McGregor's. Those types of guys, it just seems more fitting for them. I feel like Robert Whittaker and RDA love fighting so much that just throw them in the line, give them a tough night out, and they're going to appreciate that, and they're going to work very hard to try to win, and the pressure's off of them. So with that being said, I think maybe we see a major upset, and I think RDA gets it done in a decision.
How many rounds? What do you?
3-2, very close.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe I'm going to go split decision.
Split. Yeah, this is a close fight, and make no mistake about it. Even though I'm picking Islam Makhachev to win this fight, this is by far his toughest fight. Because as I'm sitting here picking him to win this fight, I'm just thinking in my mind, how does he do it? Mm-hmm. And when I think about RDA and what his skills are, he's a great boxer. He's got an incredible chin. And he's a super high-level grappler. I mean, so even in Islam, we know what he's going to do. He's got that Dagestani style. He's going to lead with the jab, and he's going to try to get you to raise your hands up, and he's going to shoot him for the takedown.
Close the distance, tie you up. Yeah.
Cool. You tie up RDA. You get him on the ground, and then what?
You might get. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's tough to ground and pound against. So
he reverses position well. He's got great jiu-jitsu. I mean, you're talking about, Colby Covington couldn't finish him. Kamaru Usman couldn't finish him. Leon Edwards couldn't finish him. What in the world
is Islam Makhachev doing that makes us believe he's going to finish him?
Yeah, so this is a decision, and against a guy who has 5-round experience and knows how to win rounds and knows how to win titles. it's hard to pick against him. I'm not going to change my bet. I still think Makhachev gets this done. This is one of the few ones where we're picking different people here.
Yeah, and I do, I like Islam's skills in this fight. I think it's going to be good, but there's just something telling me inside that I should go with RDA on this one. I think a lot of it has to do with the pressure. And I think that Khabib leaving the division and them wanting to keep that belt in Dagestan, but not through Khabib, is putting a lot of pressure into. It's no fault of his or anything like that. It's just something that laid into his lap, and now he's got to deal with it. But
no, pressure's a real thing, and it and you really learn a lot about a fighter when you see them under an immense amount of pressure. Because right now, Islam was very, very much in Khabib's shadow. Khabib was the champ. As long as Khabib was in the division, Islam wasn't going to challenge for the belt. They were obviously weren't going to fight each other. And now Khabib said, I'm gone. And you got Javier Mendez saying that this is our next guy. We in our stable of wonderful champions that we have pictures hanging on the wall of at AKA.
Yep.
You quickly learn about a young fighter at 29 years old, what type of character he has and how well he handles pressure.
Right.
Because you see certain people that just thrive under pressure. Izzy, Conor McGregor. And then you see others that when they finally rise to that occasion and they get that big title fight, and I hate to say this, but like a Cowboy Cerrone, where they just don't perform as well under the brightest of lights. So we're going to see that in Islam. Is he able to get past this world beater, this former champion, this true Brazilian legend of the sport?
Yeah.
And I think if he is, and if he does get this done against RDA in convincing fashion, then
it's off to the races.
Off to the races for Makhachev.
Yeah, and we always talk about experience, and I do think that experience plays a large role in fights. But this one in particular, I see it being an advantage for RDA, and it goes to all the fights that you've had in your career, who you've been up against. And like you said, this will not be RDA's toughest fight. This will be Islam Makhachev's toughest fight today.
Yep.
And I that could change when they step in the octagon, but on paper, that's how it goes. RDA's been in there with tougher guys. Islam, not quite. So what RDA is going to have felt with Colby Covington, with Kamaru Usman, with Leon, what he has felt with them, he might not feel with Islam Makhachev. And the experience that he had in there, he might have tried a few things that just weren't working for him, whether it be on the ground or on the feet with those top contenders. If he tries it and has some success, that's where the experience starts to play in. And, the ring generalship and the octagon control, stuff like that is what's really going to play a role in this fight. And I think RDA has the brains and the mental awareness and the mental sharpness in the game to edge out a tough-fought victory against an up-and-coming monster.
Yeah, and the question becomes, if RDA is able to go out there and grab a couple of rounds early, if he wins the first and the second, and you get to the third, and Islam's corner is saying, hey, you might be down 3 rounds, like, you got to go out there and get a finish. Does Islam go for broke? And then if you go for broke against RDA, we know that he can take you out, and so this is a very interesting fight.
Yeah.
I don't know what the odds, maybe the odds, like I said, sometimes the odds makers see things that we don't see.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think the odds makers are just flat wrong. And I think this is one where they're just flat wrong. Even though I'm picking Makhachev to win, this should be like a toss-up fight, not a minus 600 favorite for Makhachev when he's fought nobody and RDA has fought everybody.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of doing RDA wrong, but hey, if you're a bettor, definitely throw a little money, a couple bucks over at RDA. I think that you might be pleasantly surprised with the outcome of the fight. I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to throw any money on it yet. Probably not, but I do like to talk about it, and this seems like if any time to throw some money at a fight, this is the one to do it. RDA's the guy to bet on, so I think it's super exciting, super fun, super glad we broke this one down because I'm super, super jazzed up for it.
Yeah, most definitely. Guys, what do you think? Do you think RDA, the great champion, can climb that mountain one more time, or is the young stud Makhachev on his way to a fast-tracked 155 title shot? Let us know in the comments. Also, are you as floored by the odds as Nick and I both are? Let us know in the comments as well.
And the predictions, just so you remember, 4-1, judges unanimous decision for Makhachev, 3-2 split decision, tough night out, but a victory for RDA on my side.
Yep. And I don't think either way you could argue with our predictions.
No.
Those are both solid predictions.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks as always. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on audio where you listen to podcasts. And have a great day. We'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.